We finally made it, y'all. It's been 6 long years. I've been following this game since 2019. I knew it was going to be the GOAT, man. I've been grinding non-stop since the 9th of September to make sure you guys have everything you need to not just play the game, but really onboard all your homies, you know, your League homies, your Valorant homies, your TFT homies. People who have never even played a fighting game in their life but looking for something to invest in, you know, maybe people who just saw Arcane for the first time. I'm a firm believer that playing the game Duo is the peak fighting game experience. You know, as they say, misery loves company, and fighting games can be quite daunting at times. And, you know, you don't have to look too far to see that's how people are really enjoying the game. You see it on Twitter, you see it on streams, pros playing with pros they never even played with before, and pros playing with newcomers, people who've never played a fighting game before. It really is, I think, the future in a lot of different ways. But even underneath the Duo experience, this is a forever fighting game, free to play. You don't have to worry about full system overhauls in like 4 or 5 years and your character's not making the cut in the new installment, or maybe they're going to be added later where you have to drop another $30 on top of the 70, honestly 100 you gotta have to drop just to play the damn game, just to play characters you've been playing for years, man. But you don't have to worry about that here. 2X Skill will be here to stay, free to play. And as we fall in and out of love with the game, I plan to make sure the channel has tons of guides, and I'm actually making an entire website free of charge that will be there for you guys as a resource as we experience the highs and lows of this game. So my whole plan is to help us unlock the fun at every skill level, starting with this video. So without any further ado, welcome to the channel. Let's get started. All right, squad. So last thing I want to hear a year from now is how your move didn't come out because you still know where your buttons are. So let's just start from the very bottom. Let's talk controls. Yes, there's a lot of buttons, but you're not pressing all of them all the time. Just a few of them all the time. So let's make sure those few buttons are actually accessible. Let's start with the controller scheme. On the controller, the default is absolutely fine. There's not much to really change here. Where it gets a little controversial, where arguments might start to open up, is when we start talking fight sticks and leverless, right? So champion kits are designed where light, medium, heavy, and S1 are going to be your primary buttons. So you want those covered by the dominant fingers and the thumb. So you got index, middle, ring, and thumb. S1 is going to sit right here, and we're going to put S2 to the right of S1, and it's going to kind of feel like it's on a little island, but don't worry. S2 is a button you'll be pressing too often, and you'll typically be pressing it in a more committal nature. So when we shift the hand in order to get to access to S2, that's perfectly fine, because you probably won't be asked to go quickly from S2 to S1. No character comes to mind that's actually like that. So we're gonna put that right there. Now, as for the tag button, right, we have this bottom right hand quadrant and the pinky at the top right. I say we're gonna go ahead and slide onto the pinky. That way we don't have to shift our hand in order to do basic things like push block and handshake tag and tag launchers, right? We just want it right there, because it's not gonna come too often, but often enough, right? Which leaves us with the bottom right hand quadrant. You might be thinking, I want to put my dash macro there, my parry macro there, maybe even a grab macro there. And here's why you shouldn't do that. You don't want to be shifting your hand more than you need to. And the reality is, you're not going to escape pressing 2 buttons at the same time in this game, right? You got to press S1 in a button, an attack button, just to do super 1, and the same thing for super 2, and you got to press S1 and S2 for your ultimate. There's no way you're getting away from it, and you're going to have to press a lot of supers in the clutch. So, you're going to be nervous sometimes. So just pressing 2 buttons when you're a little bit nervous is going to be something that comes with playing the game. You're not getting away from it. You might as well stay in your home position and have access to these. Just learn how to do it. You're going to learn it faster than you think. One argument I'm definitely open to is putting parry somewhere down here. Parry's going to be very niche, but very important. I could see why you'd want to make sure, if you press light slightly before heavy, you don't press light and fucking die. I get it. So you can go ahead and try to justify putting it down there, but everything else should stay right where we have it here. So with our control set, let's actually begin to learn how to win. First step to actually learning how to win is play the tutorials. They're actually very well done and quite quick, so you learn really fast as you get familiar with movement, which is something you actually need to get used to, because no other modern game really moves like this one. So go over the basic and advanced lessons, but not the fuses one. You don't even know what one character can do yet. So learning what 2 can do together is literally a waste of time. Once you get done with the tutorials, try to head into a real game. As far as fuses are concerned, pick whatever and keep it pushing. And speaking of character select, that brings us to our next tip. Pulse. This game's auto combo system. Initially, I was going to tell everyone to kind of ignore pulse combos. Just learn a simple light, medium, heavy launch combo into light, medium, heavy, spike into super combo for starters, right? or slowly weave more damaging combo routes into your combo structure. Kind of like how we did with Dragon Ball Fighters. Shout out to Dragon Ball gang, love y'all so much. But after playing for so long, I am 100% confident for your first week of actually playing this game, you need to start with pulse combos. There's literally so much shit happening on the screen. The last thing you need to worry about is when you finally land a clean hit is what the fuck do I press now? As a rule of thumb, y'all, the best combo you can do, oh no, is the one you finish. This game will punish the hell out of you if you mess them up. People will recover before you realize you even dropped the combo, and all of a sudden you've lost half of your health. Combos are the last thing you need to be worried about when you're trying to learn how to carry. So for your first week of actual matches, just leave pulse on, just mash medium. Keep your bread and butter combos in the lab. They will come. There will be the time. You'll know when to bring them out. So we got our controls straight. We played the tutorials. We turned on pulse combo. Now we're going to grab our duo and actually start to get into some games. The shit show is about to unfold. But don't worry, let's just assume you're the point character. You're the person on screen first. I'm telling you, in order to control the chaos, you simply need to focus on these 3 objectives. First is run up button. It sounds so simple. That's cause it is. I need you to become that 12-year-old who just, you're playing your first beat 'em up, or you're hack and slash, or fucking Ultimate Ninja Storm, whatever. And you just go in. Quite literally run in there, down, light, medium, and just start mashing from there. You have pulse combo on. Just press one button once you actually get the hit, and you're actually gonna finish your combo. I know what you're thinking. That's stupid. I get it. Most people have actually seen the game played at high level, so they assume as soon as the match starts, people are gonna be placing very strategically placed assist and playing neutral and doing all these crazy things. It's like, no, that's not what's gonna happen, especially at the introductory levels. Most people are gonna back up and be like, where's my button at? It's gonna work more often than not. It is a very humbling experience. It's an undeniable proof that as much as the game has to offer, the fundamentals are still king. You have to start from run up button. And because you actually have pulse combo on, you're gonna finish your combo. Most of the time, you'll end up with them on the ground, which brings us to step number 2. You need to find a way to land a Meaty, and that's an attack that you land as soon as the opponent gets up. You kind of have the button ready, already kind of in their mouth as soon as they get up. And they can't mash or grab out of it, right? This is going to teach them to block when they get up, and then you get another turn as a result. And it's a quite infuriating experience for someone who doesn't really know what's going on. And usually, they're going to be forced to do something like get up attack, hold S1 as soon as they get up, and that's going to kind of reset neutral. But, if you read this, because you've been doing your Meaty so well, you can just block it and then punish, and then just press one button and you do your pulse combo, and we're right back where we started. They understand they're going to actually have to learn how to block at this point, which brings us to step number 3. Sometimes they're going to reset neutral. Sometimes they're going to get out of your pressure. That's okay. That's the nature of the beast. That's when you're going to introduce them to down heavy. This game's universal anti-air, because the thing that most people do at this point, or in neutral in general, at beginner level play, is just jump. Because again, they don't want to go over all of that gunk in the middle of the screen, the stuff we were just talking about. They're like, oh, well, they're obviously going to do something down here, so I'm going to jump over it, right? And sometimes it's nice. You just want to hold down back and hit them with the down heavy. Sometimes it's best to just let people come in and just lose 30-40% of their health. And this is also a very effective way to Meaty people if they recover in the air. Some combos make people flip out in the air, and they're going to come at you with buttons, and you're just going to down heavy. And then the process starts all over again. So you're going to run up button, finish your pulse combo, try to get a Meaty going, a nice little medium as soon as they get up. And then, whenever neutral resets for whatever reason, expect them to jump. And you're going to sit there and hold down back, and then you're going to hit them with a good old-fashioned anti-air. It's going to feel so great. And then the process repeats. You go back to step 2. All right? Once you get this down, you can start to worry about what you're going to do when you're actually not on the screen. Got your big 3 as the point character, right? You're running up, pressing buttons, landing Meaties where you can, and you've even done 1 or 2 anti-airs. You're doing great, but you've taken some damage. You're gonna need to heal up and let your duo play. They're there for a reason. So, you want to hold tag in neutral, or press tag launcher next time you land a hit, or maybe you got double down fuse and you do super and super. It doesn't really matter. There's tons of ways to tag in and out, right? You learn that from the tutorials. Now, when you finally do get off screen, you're the assist character, and with that comes a mentality shift. Okay? You have one objective. Don't be a hero. Don't just press assist because you're scared for your teammate. More often than not, this will just get you hit with them. And more importantly, the idea of saving your teammate is a very easy way to trap yourself into coddling your teammate in the long term. Sure, in the short term, you might help them get out of the corner, but you're going to kind of inhibit their ability to learn how to fight their way out of bad spots, which is just a part of fighting games. And you need to be available, actually. You want your assist to be off cooldown for the big moments, like when they're finally on the offensive, when they're beginning to turn the tide. That's when you actually want to be available. You're going to get a lot more value that way. I want you to learn how to assess, then assist. And there are plenty of defensive mechanics at both of your disposal, but don't forget, before any of that, you have comms. You may not know how to deal with something in particular quite yet, or you do, but the thing is, your duo may not have the bandwidth to kind of hear you. So when you're recognizing these patterns and maybe your teammate's not picking up on it, right? I just want you to say things like, here comes the nonsense, or like, he's going to do the thing again, right? You don't need to really say like, hey, you need to do this. They're not going to have time for all that, okay? Just saying things like that will cut their frustration down to size, because it'll kind of implant the idea that like, hey, I'm experiencing this too. We're experiencing this together. When you have those brief periods of time between rounds and matches, that's when you're gonna lay down some counterplay and kind of have some back and forth. That's the best time to do that, not when they have Darius's axe literally around their throat. And hopefully we can prevent that from even happening by just effectively using our defensive options. So let's get into that. So let's say you or your duo is actually blocking, and you actually commit to the block and aren't just mashing while you're holding back and down back, right? What do we do now? Unlike a lot of other games out there, you know, where you can just kind of wait for them to be over with their thing, that's not really how this game works. There's a lot of ways to just continue your offensive. These characters are really strong individually and on their own. This game kind of asks you, or basically forces you to be active on defense, and it's quite dynamic. So the first thing we should talk about when we're actually in block stun is retreating guard. You press light and medium, and this will push you out of your opponent's effective range. You can't really do anything but move back, and your legs are unguarded. You can be opened up with lows, but don't worry about that too much. You're trying to get away from that Darius X, right? This is going to create the space you need to just breathe, and sometimes that will allow for your assist to come out and save you, or you to, you know, hit them with a counter attack of your own. It's very important early on that you try and use this mechanic. A lot of people don't have proper punishes for retreating guard quite yet, so it's going to get you out of trouble a lot of the time. They're going to be forced to use their teammate to actually make you stick to them in being their effective range. So you want to start by just almost mashing retreating guard and then kind of toning it back as you go along. This won't really help you when you're in the corner though, and that's where your duo comes in. Now they're going to press tag, or you're going to press tag if you're solo, and then you're going to do what they call push assist, what we call push block. This can create even more space, right? And you can actually tag into your teammate if you're like, hey, that's a little too much, or you can tag back in this way, right? This is a fantastic way. It costs no meter. It only costs an assist cooldown. It's a little bit longer, but it's more than effective, especially at introductory levels of play. Most people don't know how to get back on top of you. It's kind of like a neutral reset. Very, very good. Both of these options are resource free. They're free. They don't require any super gauge, nothing. Just a little bit of an assist cooldown. But let's say you get hit. Now we're in what we call a wake up situation. When you inevitably get hit, you might think it's just time to sit down and relax, put down the backpack for a few seconds and watch the, you know, little clip unfold, right? People tell you combos are easy. There's no motion inputs. There's no way they're going to drop this. But like I said before, there's a tons of ways to drop combos in this game due to its chaotic nature and the way that combos kind of unfold. They're kind of rhythmic in nature. Even though you know the inputs, if you're not on beat, you're probably going to drop them. So when you get hit, you don't get to just turn your brain off and watch the movie. Recovery in and of itself, whether it be on the air or on the ground, is an art. We call it the wake up game. You got to be prepared. So let's continue the scenario from before. Let's assume they're going to drop the combo. They got the hit, but they're going to drop the combo. You're going to end up midair. What's options? If you're a rabid dog like me, you're holding in towards your opponent as you kind of flip out, and you want to start mashing and punish them for dropping. That could work, but it's not really going to scale against better opponents. What I recommend is you kind of hold away towards the corner, so at least you know where you're going to end up. In a nice static fixed position along the wall, and you know when you're gonna end up there. From there, you can find proper footing, start to fight on the back foot like we talked about earlier, and use the defensive options to turn the tide. Now let's rewind a bit. They got the hit. Let's go over the scenario where they actually finished the combo. So 9 times out of 10, they're gonna leave you in a soft knockdown state. From here, you simply hold S1 or S2, and as soon as you get up, you'll do a get up attack, doing a bit of damage and resetting the screen. A solid option, but even more effective when coupled with roll. You hold away or towards from your opponent, and you'll try and kind of get some distance before you get up. It's extremely effective when you know they want to do a meeting of their own, and even more effective when you're in the mid screen. They have to cover so many options: roll left, roll right, and get up attack. The ability for them to continue their offense is going to be very, very difficult, right? It's doable, but not going to be consistent. And so as a result, if you're rotating all these options we talked this far, you're on Wake Up, you're going to be pretty much as slippery as a snake. And then on defense, you should be quite unshakable. There's no reason for you to really panic quite yet. And all the options we've discussed defensively are free, by the way. If you do happen to have 3 bars, you can use a few invincibility frames on your ult and go right through their attacks and turn the tide that way. One false move and they can lose their entire character on Wake Up. That should be your goal as far as the defense in Wake Up game, being able to just go from on the back foot to a threat very, very easily. I want you guys to be rotating your options on defense and Wake Up, and I want you to let me know in the comments when people just start to back up and try not to deal with it. They'd rather just earn their hit fair and square. If you've gotten this far in the video, I just want to say thank you for giving this game a decent shot and trusting me to guide you through it. And to prove how much your trust matters, I'm going to break the YouTuber's code and tell you to pause the video. Take everything you've learned thus far, play for like a day, and then come back. I'm confident you're going to see results pretty quickly, so you'll be back sooner rather than later. Once you're actively doing everything we mentioned, go grab your duo again, because it's time to talk team composition. So you guys might have noticed back at the character select screen when we were talking about turning on pulse combos, I didn't mention who you should pick or even what fuse to choose. That was on purpose because I know your first 100 hours will consist of losing track of your characters on screen, pressing S2 instead of S1, and dropping combos. I didn't want to overload you, but if you've made it this far, we can finally start to talk fuses. Fuses completely change the way your team operates. Yasuo and Alawi with 2x assist is objectively different than Yasuo Alawi with double down. Their objective on hit, neutral, and even round start fundamentally shift. Once you find the fuse you and your teammate work well with, you'll start building strategies fast and won't want to switch. Naturally, because this is a forever fighting game, you'll learn them all, but where do we start to become the carry and fast? This game will recommend double down, and that would be wrong. Like I said before, you're going to be dropping combos even with pulse. So the idea that you're going to be doing your combo and then doing your super and then tagging in with their super, it's probably not going to happen because you have to know which super to use to come in with and then when to actually use it. There is timing required. These characters don't naturally work as well as you might think. And then, you know, you guys are going to start relying on that to swap back and forth instead of using things like tag launcher and quick tag and handshake tag. It's going to get bad really fast. Now, if you've been paying attention and doing what you need to be doing, you will be assisting from a position of power because you're not trying to play hero when you're off screen. We've been training to assess, then assist. More often than not, your assist keeps the match in your favor, so it's a no-brainer to double up on it. I recommend 2x assist. Using 2x assist as your starter fuse will indirectly make you a fundamentally stronger player for 3 reasons. The first reason is you'll naturally be on screen more alongside your teammate. They literally see you right there wreaking havoc with Darius's tackle, thus creating and reinforcing the idea that you guys are better together as a team, working as one. You're building camaraderie without comms. Secondly, since there's no room for doubt your assists will have an impact, since you can do them twice, it frames the gameplay from you simply waiting till it's your turn to actively engaging and supporting your teammate. You will go from simply supporting to seeing the role of support and all the dimensions of skill that come with it. And lastly, you won't be spending meter unless you actually need it. Double down is nice for raw damage output, but it's easy to build a habit of using it just to tag in and out when the game already has plenty of ways to do it for free. As a beginner, you shouldn't be dumping meter anyway with both characters unless it's to kill. Lots of champs have tons of utility in combat, and you'll lose out on learning and discovering these things if you're just doing level 1 into level 1 after every single hit and not even getting the kill. And even if you didn't know Yasuo's level 1 has projectile invincibility, you're gonna be a hell of a lot more useful when you're dead because you'll have meter that you need for super assist. Yes, as the carry, we do have to go over the worst case scenario, which is we're getting knocked out first, but don't panic. Remember, we had a plan at Champ Select. We chose 2x assist as a result of assessing then assisting, our teammates coming out relatively healthy, and because we didn't take double down, we actually have 1 or 2 bars saved up, so now you can actually use super assists to help them close out strong. Would be a shame if they had fear available because You know, basically with the damage buff and the speed alone, they're probably going to be able to close out their round guaranteed. Now, I could go over other fuses and talk about the advantages and disadvantages there too, but I'm not going to, because I already did. I can finally introduce Fuse Your Fate, an all-in-one fuse map dedicated to finding the right fuse for you and your team. It has explanations, objectives to shoot for mid-match, and even recommends what fuse you should move to after you feel it's time to move on. It's very much so a work in progress, but I'm making strides every day. But it will always be free and available for use on my website, 2xkairos.com, where you'll also find other resources like our champ cheat sheets with tips, tricks, and beginner's combos so you can up your combo game when you're ready to move off post. I'm dedicated to creating an all-in-one free resource alongside my videos so people can unlock the fun, not just for themselves, but for their family and friends as well. So go ahead and open a tab and go check it out and then let me know what you think. Now there's so much more to talk about and learn, but don't worry, we'll all have time. This is a forever fighting game after all. The purpose of this video was to give you the essential tools with the right mindset. Stick with what we've talked about here and you'll start to have a great time. You'll start to see what the devs meant when they say they intended to make a game that's intergenerational. I remember at one point the game director Sean said, we want this to be the game that you'll be playing and teaching your kids. And after playing it for about a month, I have no doubt it's going the distance. Going forward, we'll be doing a lot of the usual things you see here on the channel, the must-know combos, the counter guides for the pesky characters, and more videos like these where we break down topics like neutral, defense, and offense. Everything we go over will be integrated into the site, of course. This is going to be one hell of a task, but if you want to help put digestible content out there that isn't just for the sweats and the tryhards and the nerds, I really need you guys to subscribe, like, and share the videos and the website. All of this is free, just like the game. Thanks for watching, guys. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one.